Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Chill. This is sort of going to be a ranking every black anime character, at least that I could think of, and that is on this list here. And I thought this was funny. Obviously, every tier list has tiers. This one came with its own bottom tier of revoke their pass and everything, which I thought was funny enough that I wasn't going to change it. That is for the absolute worst representation of black characters in anime. And black characters in anime have kind of always had an up and down. It's been a lot of ups and downs over the decades of black representation in anime. Obviously, black people are not very common in Japan and in the East. So I feel like sometimes, especially back in the day, there could be some pretty ridiculous depictions of black people. But over the years, I think there's been some pretty solid showings and some solid characters and representations of black women, black men, boys, girls, everything like that in the genre of entertainment that we all love so much, anime. So the next tier is actually going to be honorary black, and this is for, there are some characters, and I think everyone understands what I'm talking about here. There are some anime characters that they're not black, but is kind of black, you know what I mean? Like, for instance, let's just get it out the way now. At the top of honorary black tier has to be Piccolo from Dragon Ball Z. Ever since I was a kid, and I think ever since all of us were kids watching DBZ, or however old you were when you watched Dragon Ball for the first time, I think we all like had this universal sort of like connecting just feeling and opinion that, oh yeah, Piccolo is black. Like, clearly the nigga is green, but clearly that's a green nigga. You know what I mean? Like, he's definitely a black guy, even though his voice actor, as far as I know, is not black. And the character's obviously a fucking alien. But that's a nigga. I know a nigga when I see one, and Piccolo is definitely a nigga. And I love that as I got older, I saw that, you know, people on the internet and other anime fans that I talked to, we all had this same sort of like revelation about Piccolo being, black, even though he's green. But yeah, so characters like that where you're not really sure they shouldn't be black, but they kind of are black. And then after that, I always like to put a tier for solid, just sort of like, you know, middle of the road, not great, but definitely not bad either. Just, you know, solid black characters who I can't say much great about, but I definitely can't say much bad about either. Then the next tier is A Spoon Kun. This is the the funniest way I could think of replacing the A tier. Really good characters. Maybe not like the greatest characters, or maybe me personally, I may not know ball when it comes to all these characters. I'm looking at some of them, definitely have no clue where a lot of these characters are from. But you know, the characters that I do know, and then maybe know a little bit, the characters I really like. Just like I said, maybe not the epitome of, you know, the best of the best of the best. But that's reserved for blackety black tier. And that is the blackest characters. I wanted to call this Wesley Snipes tier, but I don't know. I feel like it's a little, yeah, I like blackety black instead. But yeah, so those are the tiers that we have. I'm just looking through here, just some of the characters. Oyan Capone from Attack on Titan. He should definitely be on this list. I would put Oyan Capone at solid. I don't know. Oyan Capone is one of those weird characters where I think he's fine, right? Like, I have no issues with him. I don't think anything he did, because he was really only in the final season of Attack on Titan, I don't think anything he did stood out as like really bad or really good. He was just kind of there. I feel like if he didn't exist, right, they never created his character, he wasn't in the fourth season, nothing would really change. It was kind of cool that him and Hanji like clearly had some kind of thing going on. And he did fly the plane in that final, like, you know, climax in the final battle. So that was like a good thing. But yeah, he's just solid. I think he's like the very definition of just like a solid character. Nothing too crazy about him, but definitely nothing bad either. But yeah, the Pharaoh is, I'd say he's blackety black. He's one of my favorite characters probably in anime. Yugi is cool enough, just like, you know, little Yugi Moto, but the Pharaoh specifically, like that voice, bro, like that's the voice. People like compliment me on my voice. I feel like my voice is partially like this because I would talk like him when I was a little like 8-year-old kid watching Yu-Gi-Oh. You know, like obliterate, like all that shit. Like, yeah, he was kind of that nigga, man. I think he goes in blackity black black. We got a dark-skinned woman. I don't know if she's ever, you know, said explicitly that she's black, but I think Casca from Berserk deserves to be on this list. And I'm putting Casca in Ace Boon Coon. I think Casca is one of those characters who extremely loyal to whoever she chooses to be loyal to, right? Like she is one of the most loyal characters I think we've ever seen in any kind of fiction ever. First she's loyal to Griffith, and then once Guts, you know, proves himself to be worthy, she becomes loyal to him. The only reason I don't put her in like the top tier of this is because she's kind of annoying at first, you know, just how she's hating on my boy Guts a little too hard. It's like clearly she wants the kid, but she gotta act like, oh no, I actually love Griffith or whatever. But whatever. Casca's a great character. Berserk, at least, you know, from what I've seen, right, the 1997 anime, amazing, you know, quick like 20 whatever episode anime. I still have yet to do like more research into the series. Like I know a little bit about some of the other arcs that come later, stuff like that. I still don't understand why the anime only ever got like the one thing in 97 and then nothing else until like the late 2010s, and then like nothing after that. And now because you know, the writer of the manga is dead, unfortunately, rest in peace to him. You know, I guess we'll never get, you know, the finale of it. But yeah, Casca definitely, I put her like near the top of Ace Boon Coon. She is an Ace Boon Coon. And that might sound bad, but I promise it's not. And then we got Karako from Dead Man Wonderland. I didn't even think that this was something that had to be said, but I'm a Dead Man Wonderland anime supporter, truther, lover. I think it's one of the best things I've ever seen. I love Dead Man Wonderland. I watch it like I watch the 12 episodes of the anime like at least once a year. Like I like it that much. I found out, like, you know, somewhat recently, like in my 20s, I guess, a lot of people don't like Dead Man Wonderland. But I think it's pretty darn good, if you ask me. And Karako is one of the reasons. I think Karako is a great character, very headstrong, very fierce and strong in her convictions. Always fights for what she thinks is right. Always fights to help the people she cares about. You know, typical anime tropes of characteristics. But I think she's a really good depiction of that kind of like hard-headed, badass woman character. Femme fatale, kinda, a little bit. Yeah, she's definitely. You know what? I put Karako all the way in Blackity Black. I like her. I like her character that much. She has very few faults, if any. I think, again, the headstrongness this makes her be a little. She makes some rash decisions sometimes. But her introduction in the show, I think, is when the show gets like really, really interesting. You know, and helps expand like the world of the prison. But yeah, and then another character that should be on this list, Satoshi Batista from Michigo and Hatchin. Everyone who's seen my video about Michigo and Hatchin knows I really like that show. It's one of those shows, it's one of those anime that, despite its faults, I still fell in love with the things it did right. Like, it has great pros. It has definitely some cons, some strong cons, but its pros outweigh the cons in a pretty cool way. And I think Satoshi Batista was one of the more interesting villains of the show, and kind of like a tragic figure. I don't know. I have an idea of like making a video about Satoshi Batista and just like the greater meanings of what his story, his arc, and his character represent. But Satoshi, I think, has to go in Blackity Black Black. He was a definitely menacing, ruthless motherfucking villain who you got to see how he became that way, and like how people in those environments, those, you know, very impoverished, poor environments, become the type of people that they are. But yeah, he definitely belongs in Blackity Black Black. That's a black motherfucker, man. And then also from Michigo and Hatchin, probably throw Michigo, right, of the title in there. Michigo also Blackity Black Black. Love Michigo's character. She's one of those characters where it's like, yeah, clearly she has faults. It's like evident, like her faults are kind of like the big part of her character. She's very what's the word? She just does things sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Impulsive. There we go. I'm getting old. It's hard to remember things, guys. I'm sorry. Yeah, she's very impulsive. Like her impulsiveness is like probably the main trait of her characteristics of her personality. But she also is for some reason an unkillable violence machine. Nobody can stop. And she's very funny, very entertaining, very bombastic. But there's also like, you know, some tragic elements there. There's some subtlety to her, like deeper emotional side, about how she's kind of hopelessly in love with this man who really doesn't give that much of a shit about her. So yeah, definitely Michiko Hatchin, or not Michiko and Hatchin, because Hatchin definitely is not on this list. Maybe she's honorary black, but regardless, Michiko, black, top tier, black anime character. And then we got Atsuko, who I'm putting in Ace Boon Kun. This is sort of like, it's hard to call her she's definitely not the villain, and she's definitely not the antagonist. She's kind of like Michiko's foil, you know, always like chasing her, because running theme of the show, she's hopelessly in love with someone who doesn't really love her back. And I think she's a very necessary character in the show. I think she's a solid character, like very well written. You can really feel her struggle of, you know, wanting to protect her friend, but also hating her friend, in Michiko. And yeah, and in the end, she makes, you know, decisions that end up helping her because, again, helplessly in love with her. Yeah, so I think Ace Boon Kun, definitely. I wouldn't put her all the way at the top tier, but definitely a great character. And then outside of Michiko and Hatchin, another character in a show that's somewhat similar. Alex from Gangsta, the big tit woman who's always like half passed out. But then at the end you find out she has a beautiful singing voice. So, you know, I guess that redeems it. I don't know, she's kind of meh. Like I don't want to revoke her passing everything. I'll put her in solid. She's the very bottom of solid. She doesn't really do or say much. She's kind of just like here's beautiful woman to like protect and like push the story forward. But her as a character is pretty nothing. Gangsta's a cool show. It was a cool anime. I wish it would have got more of a run. But yeah, it was a cool little story. Had a lot of like, you know, Black Lagoon, Samurai Champloo, Michiko and Hatchin vibes to it. And yeah, I enjoyed it. And Alex was she had some big old titties, some tickle bitties, so that's always good. Then we got Simon or Simone, or however you say it, from however you say that. And yeah, black Russian anime dude who makes sushi but is secretly undercover and is hiding his identity and beats the shit out of everyone who tries him. Yeah, cool character. He goes in Ace Boon Kun. I don't think there was enough of him in the anime to warrant putting him all the way in the top tier, but he definitely, just for the sheer weirdness of him. I mean, that whole anime, that whole series is so fucking weird in a great way. I made a video about Jura a couple years ago where, you know, I loved the first half of it and hated the second half. And none of that had anything to do with Simone and his character. I keep calling him Simone because of Gurren Lagann. I don't remember if he's actually Simone or Simon. Either way, great character from a mostly great anime, and he goes in Ace Boon Kun. Muhammad Ali Jr. definitely belongs on this list, and he definitely belongs in the lowest possible tier that could be ever created because he's the fucking worst. Revoke his past and everything. Yo, Muhammad Ali Jr. is a terrible person. He's a terrible character, terrible person. He tries to steal Baki's girl. He gets his ass whooped and just keeps crying about it. He starts off kind of cool. Like, I like his introduction, and just the idea of like Muhammad Ali Jr. is kind of ridiculous and crazy in a good way. But yeah, no, they just ruin him after the tournament arc when he loses and loses to Baki. So yeah, I wanted to like him. I liked him at first, and then I ended up just hating him. I think he's my least favorite character in that show. I also see that there's some Boondocks characters here, which technically not anime, but I mean, if you know me, you know I don't give up a chance to talk about the Boondocks, so we'll keep him in. Was it the fourth Raikage? The man who brought straight backs back. You know, those are the thickest straight backs I've ever seen in my life. I really did with in Naruto how they had like the whole, I think, the cloud, the village hidden in the clouds. There was like, that's where like all the black people were, And they were all like blonde-haired black people, which is cool. They're like the Aborigines of like, what is it? Is it New Zealand or Australia? Where like there's like legit black people with blonde hair, like walk around with like Brad Pitt, Sydney Sweeney hair color, but like, and blue eyes, bluish green eyes, but like my skin color. I thought that was dope as. And I think the third Reich or third, fourth, whatever, let's call him fourth Raikage. I think he's an ace boon. You talk about standing on business. My God, that nigga cut his fucking arm. That nigga got hit with the Amaterasu and was just like, oh, this? Yeah, I don't need that. Cut his own arm off. And then just rocks out for the rest of the series, one-armed, and never really brings it up again. It doesn't seem to hamper him at all or hinder him, so he's definitely got to be a real nigga for that. So definitely Ace Boon Coon. I don't think he does enough to be, blackety black, like top tier, but definitely a dope-ass character. And then I see Dutch from Black Lagoon. I don't know if people know this about me, but I fucking love Black Lagoon. And the blackest character in Black Lagoon is Dutch. Dutch for me, and this is just me personally, this is my opinion, obviously. I don't know why people feel the need to say that. I don't know why I felt the need to say that right now, but this is just how I feel about these characters. I'm not saying this is some universal thing necessarily. But yeah, Dutch is blackety black. He is one of the coolest characters ever. Definitely, if I was 5 inches taller and about 100 pounds bigger, I would definitely dress as him for Halloween. I got the bald head and the facial hair down and the skin color and the voice. I just don't have the stature or the cool green jacket. But yeah, Black Lagoon, one of my favorite anime of all time, probably top 5. And Dutch is a big part of that. It's hard to explain what makes Dutch so dope. He's just a cool motherfucking dude. Like, you have to watch the show. If you watch the show, you understand what I'm talking about. If you read the manga, you understand what I'm talking about. But for those who haven't, go ahead and watch Black Lagoon. It's really good. So definitely there for that. And then, so I'm seeing this random dude from Cowboy Bebop. I'm pretty sure that's what he's from. Yeah, man, I don't remember him well. Cowboy Bebop's one of those things where it's like, I've watched it at least 3 times start to finish, and every time I seem to forget like all of the minor characters and all of the like specific details. I remember the big major things, but it's so hard to remember like the small aspects of the show or of the story. I'll put him in solid because I do not remember him well, but I know, like, I remember his image, so that's enough for me. Then we got this dude from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I think it's the Stardust Crusaders. Now, I've said this before. I made a video about JoJo's before, about how I personally love part 1. And this dude I thought was cool, but I don't even remember his name. And I stopped watching during Stardust Crusaders because I hated stands. I thought stands were pretty stupid. So I realized once I found out stands became a pretty big aspect of the show going forward, I was like, probably not the show for me anymore. And I also missed the stupid accents. If you can't tell, I watched JoJo's in dub. I feel like it's a lot better that way. Fight me if you disagree. Also, yeah, I'm putting this dude in solid. He's solid, I don't remember his name. Maybe I will look that up after this video, and then you can tell me in the comments and make me feel stupid. But yeah, for now, I'm gonna put him in solid. And then after that, maybe the mother goat of this whole list. We got Afro from Afro Samurai. I've also made a video about Afro Samurai. Really love that story. Really love that anime. And I think it's one of the best stories of revenge that I've ever seen. Just about, it's the classic story of revenge, but I don't know. I just really like how they told it. The action's great. The art is dope. Samuel L. Jackson being the voice is always a plus. Afro's just like, Afro is Afro. You know what I mean? Like, it's so hard to describe what makes him cool, but he's 100% blackety black. I'll put him at the top for now because I haven't seen anyone that would beat him out at this point. And then we got this One Piece looking nigga. He kind of looks like Usopp, but he looks like Usopp if Usopp was like cool and competent. One Piece, just full disclosure, I'm not a huge One Piece fan. I know a little bit, right? I know enough to say I know One Piece, but I don't really know One Piece. So if there's any other One Piece characters that's not Usopp, I'm probably gonna say like I don't know who the fuck that is. And this dude, he looks cool, but I have nothing other than that to say about him. So I'll put him in solid because he looks like he's a cool character. I'm sure he is. One Piece is good. It's just not necessarily my cup of tea. And then next, I think now this is the third Raikage. I think the third Raikage. I want to put him on Ace Boon Kun, but I feel like he didn't do enough in the show, in Naruto, to really warrant that. So I'm gonna put him in solid, at the bottom of solid. Then we got Mr. Oliver from Baki. This is the thing with Oliver. Before the prison arc, I would have put him in at least Ace Boon Kun. I really did fuck with him. After seeing him with his very fat white wife, I feel like he should probably be. Let's go ahead and revoke Biscuit Oliver's pass and everything. That's pretty unforgivable, my guy. Baki is such a weird fucking show. I don't understand how or why I've watched almost all of Baki. At least the ones that are on Netflix. I haven't gone back and watched Grappler Baki. But it has its moments of being really fucking good, but also its moments of just being so weird and awkward and just downright stupid. But yeah, Biscuit Oliver, cool character until the prison arc, and then he becomes one of the lamest dudes I've ever seen in my life. Now this dude looks like, I don't know if you guys don't know what I'm talking about. There was like a period of time where people would take like beloved characters like Goofy, and then draw him black, or like Ralph from Ed, Edd n Eddy, and then draw them black. This One Piece, I'm pretty sure this is One Piece. This One Piece dude here looks like they took a real One Piece character and just niggified him. I'm sure this is the real character, but he looks like somebody just niggified a Japanese agent character. So I don't know who this is. I want to say this is Blackbeard, but I also don't want to sound stupid. So I'm just gonna put them in revoke the pass because you look like a caricature of black people, and I don't like that. But I'm sorry, I just don't know. I'm not familiar with your game, whoever you might be. Then we got Super Ally Blackluster from One Punch Man. I kind of hate this nigga. I kind of hate this dude. Something about him always pisses me off. He just seems very worthless and useless, and one of the most forgettable and least important characters in One Punch Man. So I'm also gonna put him in revoke their pass and everything. It seems harsh, right? It seems harsh, but I think it's better that way. We should be making clear-cut lines in the sand about these people. So yeah, he definitely goes in revoke their pass and everything. Then we got Brock, who I personally have never considered black. But he probably is the darkest skinned person in Pokemon, at least in like the early Pokemon generations that I watched, like the show. So for the sake of the video, we'll count Brock as black. And Brock is Ace Boon Kun. Brock is the fucking man. He's way too horny for a 14-year-old or ever old he's supposed to be. But Brock is Ash's like day one homie, right? Like I think I might be, it's been a while. I think he meets Brock before Misty. I think that's how it goes. But like I said, it's been a while. Even if it's the opposite way around, it's still like within the first like 3 to 5 episodes, I'm pretty sure. He's definitely the first gym leader, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, Brock is the man. Then we got the black girl from Hunter x Hunter, which I'm sorry, I forgot her name. But I did fuck with her just because she was loyal to my boy Killua. And she kind of had her own skills, like she could definitely hold her own. She was one of those, I don't want to call her a maid, but like servants, I guess, which also, I don't want to call her a servant either, but I guess she kind of was a servant of the Zoldyck house, who are all like super strong. She definitely goes in Ace Boon Kun 100%. I'll put her like right behind Brock, right above the fourth Raikage and right behind Brock. Yeah, she was. I was about to say solid, but she was more than solid. She's Ace Boon Kun. Then we have this dude who he could be from Bleach, Naruto, or anything else that is a copycat of those shows. I have no idea who this is. Revoke his past and everything. He can't even see, so I'm sure watch him be like the illest character ever. But I just don't know. I'm sorry. If he, please tell me, the people who I'm not knowing in this, please tell me who they are, what anime they come from. I want to look them up. I want to not sound like a dumbass when I make these videos. Next we got Dairu or Daru. I never knew how to say his name. I just knew him as that like really cool, chill dude with the blonde and emo hair. Even though again he is clearly black as he's definitely Ace Boon Kun. I fuck with this dude heavy. I like that he became in Boruto. He became the new Raikage, I guess the 5th Raikage. He got a little like mustache growing too. Yeah, he was cool. I wish he was in the show more. I wish he was in the story more. But like I said, solid character. Then we got another One Piece character who I'm sorry, I just have no clue who this is. Also, something about me that I guess you should know is I kind of hate the art style of One Piece. So whenever I see a character from One Piece, I kind of physically gag. I retch a little bit in my mouth. My eyes feel like they want to throw up. So yeah, I got that same feeling when I looked at this dude. So yeah, definitely remove his black card and everything that is related to that. Okay, so I don't know who this next dude is either, but I know he's JoJo's. I know that art style. He looks cool. JoJo's usually does have pretty solid characters. Like there aren't too many JoJo's characters that I've ever seen that I didn't like, so I'm gonna throw him in solid. Just like I said, straight off the design and the fact that he comes from JoJo's, I'm confident that he's a solid character, probably even better. This dude looks like the same thing I described about that One Piece dude who looked like he was niggified. This character looks like he was looks like Mojo Jojo was niggified, which he was already a monkey, which I'm not gonna go further in my thoughts on that. I'm just gonna put it in revoke pass and everything. Next we got clearly another JoJo's character. I can't tell if this is just a very androgynous man or a very handsome woman. So for the confusion factor, I'm going to put them in solid because it's intriguing. And again, JoJo's usually has pretty good characters. Now this looks like some Bleach. Again, I could be wrong. Their tits are huge. So off of that alone, I think I'm going to have to put them at least in solid. And again, forgive me if this is actually like your favorite character and I'm just butchering their story and their name and who they are, but I'm sorry, I just don't know. Okay, this next character I'm pretty sure is from Fire Force. One, because I've seen like the first 5 episodes of Fire Force and I think they were in it, and two, there's fire in this picture. And I think I remember this character. She's like manipulates people or controls people's minds or something. She's like a dominatrix type of character. I'm into that. Yeah, I'm into that. I don't know much about her, but I know enough that I think she's a solid character, and I think she's better than solid. I'll put her in Ace Boon Kun. She's probably a terrible person. She seems like a great villain. But you know, I think she's still, in terms of like a great character, an interesting character, she seemed pretty cool. One day I will watch more Fire Force because I've heard it's like, I liked it enough when I first watched a little bit of it, but I've heard it gets really good eventually. All right, next we have Huey Freeman. Oh god, man, I wonder where Chill Review, guy who's made 70,000 Boondocks videos, is gonna put Huey Freeman. Oh, there he goes. It's black. The blackest of the black. Yeah, him and Afro, I guess, probably the top two. And then, it looks like we got a Pokemon-looking girl. I didn't know Pokemon had black girls in it. Yeah, no, I have no idea who this is, but just off of the fact that Pokemon has a black girl in it, I guess I'll put her at least in solid. So good for her. All right, and here we got another one that's... So this is the borderline that I'm talking about. Even more so than Piccolo, because Jet is another character I think that most people who grew up watching Cowboy Bebop back in the day, probably like low-key considered him black, even though he didn't really look black, you know what I mean? But like he's kind of black. Jet is black, right, in our minds. But once they made the live action version, which understandable if you didn't watch it, it wasn't that great. He's straight up a black guy in that live action version. He looks a little too young. I think Jet should have been older, but he's definitely black. So if that's the case, we're gonna act like he is black, and we're gonna put him in Ace Boon Coon. I put Jet right behind Brock. The only reason I put him in Ace Boon Coon and not Blackity Black or over Brock is because, as dope of a character as he is, I never liked that, like, him and Spike, as much as they did with each other, as much as they cared about each other, they always try to act like they didn't. That started to get annoying. Just not just those two, but just Cowboy Bebop characters in general. That whole like playing core, like, oh, I don't really like you guys, but really, you're my closest friends in the world. But yeah, no, definitely great character. And from a great show. This looks like another Bleach ass nigga. I have no idea who he is, but he looks like he is he got that shit on. I don't know what the yeah, this is a Playboy Cardi ass dude, and you know what? I'll with that. I'll put him in solid. Definitely not revoking any black cards from this guy. Okay, next we got another member of the I think it's from the Hidden Cloud in Naruto Shippuden, or just Naruto. She is the one who is the fat kid, Choji, and has a daughter that's in Boruto, who's mixed, who I guess is not on this list, but we're not going to rank her because it's Boruto, so who cares. She was annoying, like loud and annoying, but I think in an entertaining way. I'll put her near the top of solid. She's a character I at least know more than all these other characters that are in solid for the most part. But I don't think she's Ace Boon Coon, but she's all right. Also, I realized she had like a brother or something, or some dude who was always with her who was real nervous. That dude sucks. I hate that guy. If he was on this list, which I haven't seen him yet, but if he is, he's going in revoke his pass and everything. And next we got the man, the myth, the legend, Jaden Smith's character from Neo Yokio. I forget his actual name because that show is so stupid. But I'm just gonna call him Jaden Smith. Jaden Smith is solid. I wouldn't want to revoke. Jaden Smith is too unique to revoke his black card. He's too much of an interesting spirit. You know what I mean? He doesn't make very good art in general, and Neo Yokio was not a very good show. But it had some laughs, and I got what they were trying to do, but whatever. He's solid. He's solid. And then we have this little dread-headed, twist-haired kid with the big gloves from Soul Eater, who I remember him being one of the first anime characters like I was like consciously aware of, like, oh yeah, that's like a normal black kid in anime, which like just didn't really exist before that very often, right? And really it hasn't existed much since. So for that alone, I really with that. He's going in Ace Boon Coon. He's going near the bottom of Ace Boon Coon, but I still think just off of like the idea of representation, I think is so important, even in media that is not necessarily meant to be representative of an entire your world. Soul Eater as a whole is one of Soul Eater to me is the most like 7.5 out of 10 anime ever. Like, it's not bad at all, but it's also never really like amazing. The characters I think are great. Like, I think the idea of having like 3 main characters all be in the same story at once, with Mako, Black Star, and Death the Kid, or Death Jr., whatever one is supposed to be. It's a great idea, and I think they executed it really well. I just think that, like I said, there's nothing in it that's like, oh my god, this is fucking amazing. But there's also nothing in it that's bad either. But yeah, that's my random, very short review of Soul Eater. Next we got Killer B, who, man, I feel so conflicted about Killer B, because on one hand, very cool powers, very cool fight. Like, his fight against Sasuke is one of my favorite fights in Naruto. His connection with Naruto, the 8 Tails, like, there's very good aspects to him, but also he's like insufferably annoying. especially in the dub. I thank God I watched Shippuden in sub, but I've only heard him sparingly in the dub, and I can't do it. His dumbass rapping. So for that alone, just to make things interesting, I'm gonna put him in revoke his card. Yeah, Killer B the person sucks, but Killer B like the fighter is dope. But yeah, get him out of here. Next we got Merrick from Yu-Gi-Oh. Merrick is I really like Merrick. Merrick is Ace Spoon Coon. I'll put him near the bottom of Ace Spoon Coon. He's not an Ace Spoon Coon to anyone, right? He's a slimy he's a slimy scumbag. But some of that is just him being possessed by the what is it, the Egyptian, wow, what the fuck are the name of those things in Yu-Gi-Oh, that the Millennium items? Yeah, his Millennium item is kind of just like controlling his mind. Because his sister was saying like, this isn't the Merrick I know. It's like, all right, whatever, bitch. He's trying to destroy the world. We don't care. But you know, I thought he was a great villain in the whole like Battle City arc. I'm a big Yu-Gi-Oh fan, in case you guys haven't been able to tell. Next we got that bunny girl from My Hero Academia that every buff black girl loves to cosplay as. And for that alone, I'm going to put you all the way in blackety black, because I appreciate your service and what you have done for me and my community. So thank you. And if anyone has any links to those women and their pages with the cosplay, please put them in the comments below. And next we have, oh God, Mr. Popo. So I think this is another kind of shared experience that a lot of, I know black kids, maybe not kids of other races, but definitely black kids I know I've talked to, who said that when they would watch Dragon Ball Z in their homes, when their parents were there, and their parents would happen to, you know, walk downstairs or walk to the room while they were watching, and Mr. Popo was on the screen, the look of horror, shock, confusion, anger, like what is this Sambo f***ing soft shoe racist ass mother doing on my TV screen? Like, it is the most egregious, it's easily the most egregious case of Japanese animation, or Japanese animators just not understanding like the history of like black American culture, just American culture, or understanding it and not giving a f- and still putting a a clear representation of like the old minstrels from when people would wear blackface back in the day in like the 19th century, early 20th century. You gotta revoke Mr. Popo's black card. And this is what sucks about that is Mr. Popo, take away his Sambo ass face. He is a great character. Like, he's a great loyal servant to Kami. He's deceptively strong. There's a lot of things with Mr. Popo that like are great and, you know, respectable qualities of a person. He just looks like a racist icon. So yeah, gotta revoke it for that. And now we have this chick who looks like she should be in a hentai. Man, I don't know where this is from at all, but revoke it instantly. Cute picture, but yeah, no, I don't like the implication of whatever that might be. And this dude I know I have seen before, but for the life of me, I cannot remember what I've seen him in. I don't think it's Soul Eater. I don't think it's My Hero, but he looks like some kind of thing that I've seen before. Whatever, I'll put him in solid. He looks fine. He looks cool. Oh, here's the bitch ass nigga from the Cloud Village. Yeah, revoke everything for you, bud. That dumbass lollipop. Get that lollipop out of your mouth. Sorry, I hate that dude. I always hated that character. Next we have a Princess Jasmine in anime form. Yeah, I'm down for that. Why not? Put her in solid. I have no idea who that actually is, but you know, can't be that bad of a character. And next we have Riley Freeman. I think we all know where he's going. Blackety Blackman. And next we have Robert Granddad Jedediah Freeman, who is also going in Blackety Blackman. I guess if we're rating them like 1 to 3, let's go Huey, Granddad, Riley. But I mean, it's still the Boondocks, so you know. Okay. Now we got the dude from My Hero Academia. this dude. I was so excited when I first saw this dude in My Hero. I was like, oh damn, okay, we got another brother in anime, right? A cool superhero, right? This is gonna be great character. Can't wait. And then he just comes off as the biggest hating ass bitch in the fucking show, which is saying something for My Hero Academia. So yeah, I can't stand this dude, and I feel like he's never done anything useful or done anything competent that shows competency in the entire series. So he definitely goes, you take away everything, take away his power, whatever bullet that they were shooting people with that took away their quirks, he should have got shot with that like 100 times. Yeah, get him out of there. Hate that dude. Next we have Scar, which, funny enough, I've never considered Scar black. I mean, the motherfucker is Ishvalan. That sounds more like Middle Eastern to me, but I don't know. We got, like, geography is not my strong suit, but we do have, like, Egyptians here, so fuck it, why not? You gotta take what you can when it comes to anime and black characters. So, Scar, I'll put Scar in black. I really want to make a video about Full Metal Alchemist. And I mean, when I say Full Metal Alchemist, I mean Full Metal Alchemist, the 2003 anime, not Brotherhood. I think Brotherhood is great. I think Brotherhood was necessary to be made, considering how different from the manga the 2003 adaptation was. I think Brotherhood has the objectively better ending than the 2003 Full Metal Alchemist. And I think it does certain characters, specifically like Armstrong's sister and definitely Fuhrer Bradley, way better. But there are certain things about the 2003 anime that I think were done way better in a way more interesting way than Brotherhood. And it sucks that a lot of those got thrown to the wayside. Understandably so, because again, Brotherhood was actually following the manga. But I love the 2003 version, and it's not truly lost media because you can buy the Blu-rays and shit like that, but you can't really stream that shit anywhere anymore. And I don't know, I miss it. That was my introduction to Full Metal Alchemist, and I'm kind of sad that I can't watch it anymore. But that's the end of that rant for now. Like I said, I want to make a video about that, a bigger video about Full Metal Alchemist in the future, so you'll see that eventually. But yeah, Scar, black. One of the best villains, I think, in anime history. Because was he even really a villain? You know, he was just a dude who was wronged and wanted revenge on behalf of his people in an unjust world by an unjust system. So, classic story. This dude here, I know I've seen before. I know what he's from, but I cannot think of it. It's either do ra 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 ra. It's Soul Eater, or it's something of that fucking ilk. But I know this dude. Like I said, I just can't fucking think of it. But I do remember thinking he was pretty dope. And so for that, I'm going to put him in A Spoon Coon. Next, we have the big black bitch from Promised Neverland. Yo, Promised Neverland, it's so funny. I remember, because my girlfriend is like getting more into anime. I wouldn't say because of me, but like I watch anime and sometimes she just is with me, obviously. So she watched it with me. So I told her, she was asking me about like, what's a good anime to watch. I was like, oh, season 1 of Promised Neverland is great. And she was like, what do you mean only season 1? Like the rest of the season is good? It's like, yeah, maybe just watch season 1. So we did watch season 1. That was my first time rewatching it, and it's still great. Season 1 is still so good. And I wish I could remember this character's name, but I think she was great as like a side villain under the main villain, which was the mom. And yeah, you know what? Again, when I say like A Spoon Coon, she's not like I would never want to be around her. And even though at the end of the day, she did kind of help the kids a little bit. But just as like her depiction, she was like a great villain, and it had a great like tragic story. But yeah, I'll put her at A Spoon Coon. And then we have Uncle Ruckus, which I mean, this is where it gets like hard, because one, according to Ruckus, he's not a black man. He has revitiligo. So technically he should be going in honorary black if you ask him, which he also probably wouldn't consider himself honorary black either. But if you just consider him as a person, you know, he's the supreme revoke their black card instantly character. But if we're just talking about how much I like the character, how funny he is, and how integral he is to like how good the show is, the Boondocks, then he's got to go in blackity black black. But you can't, like, can you really put Uncle Ruckus like in blackity black black of a tier list about black people? Yeah, Ruckus is top of revoke their past and everything tier. But I think you get what I'm saying. Hopefully you understand what I'm saying there. I love Uncle Ruckus, but also Uncle Ruckus. Now we get to Usopp. Like I said, I don't know much about One Piece. I know a little bit. Like, I know enough about One Piece is how I always describe it. And I know that I hate Usopp. Hate's a strong word. I don't hate Usopp. I just think Usopp is one of the worst characters in that show and in that crew. And the things I've heard about Usopp from people who actually do read the manga and watch the anime and are big fans, he just seems like a pretty terrible character. So I'm putting him in revoke his black card. And next we got Oob. I barely remember anything about Dragon Ball GT. In fact, no, actually, you know what I remember about Dragon Ball GT? I remember Oob. That's the only thing I remember about Dragon Ball GT. Oob is solid. You know, he's Boo backwards, you know. That's cool, you know. That's fun. Nothing really else to say about him. And the next is this black girl from Bleach who I did not really know about until I think it was I was actually on a podcast, the Radio Trigger podcast, with some fellow content creators, Anime Bro, Tensei Shinra, 20 Odd Lion, great creators and great people. You know, you should definitely check them out and their podcast. But they basically introduced me to this character, and I'm terrible with names. I forget their name, but based off of what they showed me and put me onto, I'm gonna go ahead and put her in blackity black black. Right, I'm gonna put her right behind Bunny Girl from My Hero Academia for very similar reasons. If you know, you know, and hopefully you do know, because if you don't know, you need to find out. And last one here is Zoro. I don't know why I never considered Zoro black, but I know the English voice actor I think is the same as Piccolo, so we're gonna put him in honorary black. Even though one of the funniest videos I've ever seen in my life is the one that like exposes him being like the biggest racist in anime and how all the people he kills are technically like the black characters in One Piece, or like the minority characters in One Piece. I wish I remembered what that video was, but it's so funny. But yeah, no, that's pretty much the list. Boondocks characters aside, because that's kind of cheating. I would say the number one, like the blackest anime character of all time has to be Afro Samurai. He's 100% just like the epitome of what, like, I never would have thought that an anime could have a character that black in it ever, and it's the only show or series I've ever seen that did it. Dutch is definitely up there in terms of like my favorite black characters. And then, you know, you got the horny choices there. Again, Scar, if we're counting him as black, 100% has to be in the top tier. And then you got people like Brock and Jet, who, you know what, F it. I'm gonna go, I don't like how thin blackity black black is without the Boondocks characters. I'm putting Brock and Jet up there too. Even though, again, Jet questionably black, but if he is black, we're going all the way to the top with it. And Ace Boon Kun, I think it's just a lot of characters I think are cool, but maybe didn't get like all the time to shine as some of the characters in the upper tier. And then Solid ended up just being like, I just don't know. I'm not familiar with their game for the most part. And then some other characters that I think were just, like I said, just like solid characters. And then I regret nothing about everyone I put in revoke their past and everything except for maybe Uncle Ruckus. But every other character in there, yeah, they are terrible representations of black people in anime, and I do not stand with them, and neither should you. But yeah, no, so that's the video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let me know what you think. Who's your favorite black anime character? If you have one, I understand if you don't. It's not the most broad subject or highly populated field. But yeah, no, thanks for watching. Hope you have a good one, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Peace.